Hovindism Bonus number 2, Creationism in Academia. We are briefly going to turn our focus from Mr. Hovind to a much more general and broad claim of creationism, namely that creationists are silenced and so horribly abused by academia when they declare their nonsense. To explore the typical reaction of academia, we are going to follow a creationist letter and the academic response in Microbe. Microbe is the monthly news magazine of the American Society for Microbiology. It is not a peer-reviewed technical journal, but is more akin to the news and feature articles found in Science or Nature, with the exception that it is specialized to issues in microbiology. The Creationist letter appeared in the May 2008 issue and was written by Dr. George T. Javer of Loma Linda University School of Medicine. His research centers on reductive stress response in E. coli. In interests of full disclosure, Loma Linda University is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Given Loma Linda University's openly discriminatory, religiously qualified, equal opportunity employment policy, it is safe to assume that he is a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. His letter, in its entirety, follows. Evolution in the classroom. Risking the ire of the National Academy of Sciences, attention needs to be called to the irony in their current crusade against creationism in science classrooms. Sir Francis Bacon, who is credited with formulating and establishing the scientific method, was a creationist. So were Sir Isaac Newton, Robert Boyle, Louis Pasteur, Carl Linnaeus, Michael Faraday, Blaise Pascal, Lord Kelvin, James Clerk Maxwell, Jean-Louis Agassiz, Rudolf Karl Virchow, Johannes Kepler, and numerous other intellectual giants on whose shoulders stand the modern scientific enterprise. Clearly, creationism did not hinder the scientific work of these greats. Rather, it encouraged them to seek keener insights into the secrets of the physical realm. Permitting students to peek outside the box of evolution is hardly a dilution of science. Rather, it is granting them freedom of imagination and thought similar to what students of previous generations were allowed to have. George T. Javer, Loma Linda University School of Medicine, Loma Linda, California. If you are at all familiar with our previous work, you will readily recognize Dr. Javer's entire letter as just an argument from authority, or in this case, authority. The response appeared in the July 2008 issue. It was written by Stephen K. Ferrand of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Department of Microbiology. His research focuses on the molecular biology of the interaction between the plant pathogen Agrobacterium tumefaciens and its host. Again, in full disclosure, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign is a Research 1 public university. Given the university's actual equal opportunity employment policy, his religious affiliation, if any, is unknown. His letter is likewise reproduced in its entirety. Creationism versus Evolution. Dr. Javer's letter concerning creationism versus evolution, Microbe, May 2008, page 215, uses at its premise to promote educational exposure to the latter the statement that many great scientists, including Newton, Boyle, Pasteur, and Linnaeus, were creationists. While this may be true in a loose sense of the word, the platform on which his argument is based fails on two accounts. First, Newton, Boyle, Linnaeus, Pascal, and Kepler all died before Darwin's publication of On the Origin of the Species. The concepts of biological evolution as presented by Darwin had not yet been formally proposed, and the Christian creation theory was all that they knew. Of those who were contemporaries, Pasteur, while being a strong Christian, was not a creationist in the present sense of the word. Calvin disagreed with Darwin because he thought the timeline wrong based on his calculations of the rate of cooling of the earth. But there is no evidence that Calvin philosophically disagreed with Darwin. Certainly Calvin would not have agreed with the notion that the earth is 6,000 years old. As to Virchow, we must remember that while repudiating Darwin, he also denied the validity of Pasteur's germ theory. Second, that eminent scientists of their time have embraced theories later proven to be incorrect is more common than not. A compelling example, Aristotle and Ptolemy, among others, thought the earth to be the center of the universe, a cosmology believed to be absolute until Copernicus. The real question is, were they to know the present state of the art, would Newton et al. Embrace Darwin and his theories, as we all, I think, have accepted those of Copernicus and Galileo? I suspect the answer would be yes. More to the point, would Aristotle and Ptolemy espouse teaching the geocentric model of the universe as an equally weighted alternative rather than history if they were alive today? Given their intellectual stature, I am reasonably sure the answer would be no. Stephen K. Ferrand, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And that's what happens when creationism crawls out from under its rock. The bright light of knowledge is shined upon it, and it scuttles back under its rock like the cockroach that it is. Javer was not persecuted in any way, as creationists so often claim they are. The errors in his logic were exposed, and everyone can have a quiet chuckle at his admission that creationism is the product of the freedom of imagination. Does anyone else find it ironic that the unequal opportunity policy of Loma Linda University is hosted by their Department of Security, while the actual equal opportunity policy of the University of Illinois is hosted by the Office of Equal Opportunity and Access?